Hi everyone, I'm Inane Babbler, and welcome to the first episode of a new Let's Play series for the game Frostpunk 2. We're going to be playing the story mode in this series, and let's get started. There's the prologue, and then there's 5 chapters. We're going to start a new story. It says, in 1887, the world froze to death. Civilization crumbled. The failing British Empire built generators to support cities of evacuees, cities that would become the last on Earth. Whether huddled by a generator or out in the open frostland, those that survived were shaped by the ordeal. 30 years later, all have become very different people. I guess I'll just do the default difficulty level. Maybe I'll go up 1 to officer. Let's just do the default one for now. This is my first full playthrough of the game. Let's play.
Can you hear us? Captain!
Do you hear us?
A generation ago, we fled the crumbling British Empire as the world froze around us. I held New London together. United, we survived 30 years of whiteouts. But the world around us is dead. Empty.
Ripe for taking. The city grows.
Vestas.
Merely surviving is not enough. We have to expand. After all, it's us who survived the end of the world.
Yes. Now what?
Okay. The Wanderers Prologue. We've been roaming the frozen desert for years. Many of us do not remember a world before the Great Frost. Now another whiteout is coming, and again we've reached the old machine. Again, we will rely on its furnace to provide heat through the storm. In the past, we always made sure there were enough supplies for the next whiteout, but our numbers have grown through the years. Providing for everyone is getting harder and harder. We must survive. Okay, that's a train with a generator. Prologue: The Wanderers. Fight the cold. Welcome to the prologue. Here you will learn the basics of construction and controls. You'll need it for what awaits you in a larger city. Okay, let's go through this real quick. Gonna hit pause. So just to assess the situation, quick overview of the interface. Top left, we see the population is 3,000, and it shows us that it's rising steadily. The workforce is 1950. We also have our scraps and how much income of each we're getting per week. Prefabs is something else for construction as well. We have our heat, which is currently scarce, which is why it's negative. Same kind of system with shelter. We're negative. Food, we're also negative 53. And materials we really don't need right now because we don't have any buildings. Our temperature is negative 4 degrees Fahrenheit. And in about 70 weeks, it looks like we're going to have a temperature drop. Bottom right side of the screen, we can frost break, we can build hubs, and we can build districts. So in the first Frostpunk, you built buildings in rings close to the generator. In this one, you build districts that satisfy your needs for housing and food and materials and that sort of thing. This Let's Play series, we're really just going to focus on the quests and getting through it as best as we can. And exploring all the different rules and laws and all that, obviously. So let's take a look at the first quest. Fight the cold. First thing we need to do is frost break to an oil wagon, construct an extraction district on that oil wagon, and then turn on the furnace. Best tool to use that really quickly too is you just tap Alt and you see your whole map. You see where the food is, where material points are, oil. Prefabs are here. So we need oil. I'm just going to try to plan this out a little bit. Obviously, we know we're going to need food, we're going to need housing, we're going to need materials, we're going to need all of this at some point. So we'll build to the oil on this side. And then the food and materials on this side. Right here is where we can actually build some housing as well. So let's go ahead and frost break to the oil. And actually, let's go down this way to the prefabs as well. And while they're doing that, let's frost break over to some food. Making our way down toward the oil. And up this way toward the food and the materials. That'll just give us a little bit of a head start. I'll speed up the game speed whenever there's like lulls like this where there's really nothing else going on. Alright, let's build an extraction district on top of this oil. Another one on top of these prefabs, because I know we're going to need that, obviously. I think I've said obviously about 6 times already, so I'll obviously try to stop saying that. Okay, so extraction district we have for oil and for prefabs. Next thing we'll need is for materials, but we got to get some food quickly. Well, housing really is the next thing we want, so let's do some housing. I built it like that so I can build another one and it benefit from the heat from the furnace. Okay. Oil. As the thick black liquid oozes through the pipes, our people rejoice. The carcass of this old machine is a testament to the hardships that made us. But more importantly, it's our haven in the storm. It has allowed us to weather many whiteouts and it will do so again. We have oil. We can turn on the furnace. Select the Dreadnought Wreck to access furnace control. Once turned on, the Dreadnought's furnace will automatically convert oil into heat. Alright. Click in there, furnace is selected, we're turning it on, we now have heat. Provide basic infrastructure. The furnace is on. We have enough oil to cover current needs. But the cold will still affect our people until they have proper shelter. Housing will best protect us from the cold if built in close proximity to other housing or the furnace itself. However, we'll need prefabricated parts for construction. We brought some with us. The rest we need to extract from the wagon wreckages. I see. So housing's actually almost done. And the quest is to make 2 housing districts, so we're going to make another one real quick to satisfy that. Oh, we need to frost break, so let's frost break. What was it? It was probably 1, 2, 3 right there, and we'll... Wait, why can't we build more housing districts here? Oh, okay, not enough tiles to finish. How about we stretch toward that food that we're going to definitely need anyway? Yeah, alright, good. Let's make our way to those materials right there. While we have the workforce to actually dig through, I want to plan out these frost-broken areas. Alright, we don't have enough scraps right now to make more pathways here. Let's see, are we falling behind on anything? We don't have food, we don't have housing, we don't have materials. I know all of that. We need prefabs, which we're getting already. We're going to need more over there. Fine. Okay. Okay, let's see. Now, we're going to get some food. So really, this is just me trying to make some pathways, areas that I know we're going to need. We can't build anything right this second. We'll do an extraction district right there. All right, while they're doing all that, let's go over what these districts are basically doing. Of course, you have food and materials and different resources that you need. It's very basic. It's housing, food, materials, prefabs, and then a fuel source. So like right here, this is extracting prefabs. You can zoom in and see what they're doing. They're extracting prefabs. I mean, that guy's just talking to himself. Those 2 guys are looking at him talking to himself. Okay, that's that. I definitely am going to need a food district. So just to go into it, so you have in the top right, you have your little question mark tutorials. I'm not going to go through them all, but for example, prefabs are prefabricated building components. And that's how you build things like districts or hubs or buildings. It's kind of just a resource needed for that. Scraps are a resource that can be spent on doing things like frost breaking or construction. It's basically the way that you're throttled in how much you could do at one time. They're collected weekly. And then shelter is pretty obvious. It protects them from the cold. If I go over this at the top here, you see there's right in the center, top middle, there's the cold. And it says that it's notable, and that's because there's not enough shelter. And you see that kind of haze pulling down from the top. It's kind of significant. And that's how you know if you have an issue or not. Disease right now is growing, but minor, and that's why the haze is just a little bit. Same thing when it comes to hunger and squalor. But we're going to get caught up on all that now. We're gonna make a housing district here. Well, no, we want to make food first. We don't want that to become an issue. So let's make food right here. And we're gonna make another food district in a second. Did I just cancel that? Yes, I did. I canceled that by mistake. Make another food district. Let's look at this housing. Let's see what they're up to. I mean, they're just kind of going from house to house. Running around, okay. Living the best life they know how. Okay, so Whiteout arriving in 71 weeks. Our next objective is to build 2 housing districts, which we're going to do as soon as we have 60 scraps. There we go. Here's the food. Okay. We're getting some food constructed in there. Not exactly sure what they're doing. Maybe these like vats of algae or something. Kind of looks like that's what it might be. I imagine they turn them into little algae cakes. And you get your algae cake ration for the day. Okay, this housing district is just about finished. 30 people froze to death. That's because I didn't have enough houses, apparently. I'm working on it, guys. Okay, gain access to food. We have established some heat and shelter for our people. We must now turn our attention to the incoming whiteout. First, we must frost break to the small patches of fertile soil suitable for growing food. Then we must store it in easily accessible depots. We must move quickly so no one starves. I see. Prepare for the whiteout. We secured our immediate survival. Now we have to stockpile as much food as we can before the whiteout forces us to take shelter. To do that, we need to produce more food than our own demand. Stockpiles will be ready in 151 weeks at the current rate, and it's 65 weeks until the whiteout, so that's not going to work. Okay. A gardener, Finan Kell, says, "We've been here so many times, the soil is depleting. A couple more and there will be no point erecting the hothouses. There will be nothing to grow food on, and the yield is so low, either we pull emergency shifts or we tighten our belts. Otherwise, there might not be enough for everyone." So, I'm going to pause real quick. Down at the bottom are your communities currently on the map. So this one is the Wanderers. Relations are neutral. If you click on it, there's certain different things that you can do here. It describes who they are. You can select favors, so you could ask them for some scraps. And then there's a trust building column here where you can give them scraps. You're obviously, I said obviously again, you're going to give them more scraps than you originally asked them for, which the reason for that is because you would need those like in a really tight spot. You need scraps to be able to build something. It's going to hurt your trust with them and your relations with them, but you need it, and then you could buy it back by giving them more scraps later on. So I'm going to try to avoid that in this whole series, really, as best as I can. But here's a special thing. Tighten belts will increase hunger, but the food demand will go down. So I'm going to try to not do that because I want them to be happy. And so I don't want their hunger to go up. So we're going to avoid doing that for right now. But we'll make a decision on that in the next like 10 weeks or so. Okay, so we need more food districts. We need more housing. We already did. We're going to need oil because we're not fulfilling all of our heat demand. So there's oil here and oil there. I think I should prioritize food though. So what did this just popped up? Let's see. These are kind of like thought bubbles from people in the city. Into the black, burying the dead. We mourn those who have recently passed. As is our custom, we take them to the oil pits. We gently lower their bodies into the thick blackness. The fuel that keeps us warm in life likewise preserves us in death. But death also erodes trust in our leaders. Without trust, there is no future. Okay, let's keep them warm. That's my warning. Let's, can we do an extraction district there already? No. Oh yeah, that's right. I just had barely made it. So there's quests on the left here. Order emergency shifts, which basically means that they'll extract whatever faster, but they will take a reputation relations hit. Or I can ask them to tighten their belts, which will make their hunger grow up, which will make them unhappy, but it'll stretch how much we can get out of a unit of food. Let's just see, without doing any of that, if we can get it done. So the plan will be to make food districts here on both of these ones and see what happens. All right. Yeah, I just want that resource. Great. Extract on here for oil. I always like keyboard shortcuts, so if you hover over it, you'll see like Frostbreak is X, your hubs are H, and your building districts, constructing districts is B. While we're building this district, let's take a look. So it's deactivated right now, but there's some information of what will actually be here. It's going to take 150 workforce. It'll have 142 weeks of supply. The output is 60 oil. And the demand to actually run it is 20 heat and 20 materials. In this game, red means a negative effect or a demand of some sort. Blue means a positive effect or an increase of some sort. Okay, what do you have to say? A mysterious symbol. The captain's legacy. One of our frost-breaking crews uncovered the frozen remains of a man in a tattered uniform. His shoulder patch reads, New London Scouts, 3rd Platoon, and he bears an obscure insignia. Some of our elders claim it belongs to a military organization, while others argue it has a religious significance. Maybe you have heard of this New London before and can settle their debate? So in this game, there are some situations where you must answer. You can't just ignore it. You have to choose something that will change the path of the game. These are the 3 choices for this. So it symbolizes order, which says New London is a city of discipline that follows strong leadership and where militant squads keep the peace. Or it symbolizes faith, New London is a city of devotion that established a new religion and follows the guidance of a zealous clergy. Or I could say that I don't recognize this symbol, and that way it just leaves it shrouded in mystery. I'm just going to say I don't recognize the symbol. I'd like to get more heat because I don't want them to die. I can't afford really to lose anybody else. Okay, we're good on our heat. $58 weeks left till whiteout and 143 weeks at the current rate to fill our stockpiles. So we need to get going on food. After I build these two stockpiles, or these two districts, I'm going to see if I need them to tighten their belts. Tria Cleghorn is age 62 and a seamstress. She's currently looking at her grandchildren playing. My knees ache and my fingers are so stiff I can't hold the needle anymore. I've lived a full life. It warms my heart to see little Betty and Jacob play by the evening fire. But maybe this is it. I've talked with the other elders. If it comes to it, we will go. I won't let my grandchildren starve. Some people are ready to sacrifice themselves to lower the food required. Let's avoid that for now, Tria. Okay, after this food district is done, we'll decide if we need to tighten our belts. Okay, what's this? Aiden Fincham. He says, Seals, I can't believe my eyes. We haven't seen them since before the Great Frost. How did they survive? There's enough meat there to feed everybody. We're saved. I think that's how he said that. But should we slay them if the Lord spared them from the end of the world too? So the seal colony will supplement our food production. Okay, so we'll either tighten our belts or we'll go for the seals. I'd like to avoid going for the seals so that we can think that that's the way that the population of the world's going to get replenished. Okay. All right, so stockpiles will be ready in 37 weeks at the current rate, and we have 49 weeks until the whiteout. So we're going to be fine. I just need to make a couple of hubs to increase our stockpile limit. So in the hubs area, where is it? Right here, H. Right now, you only know how to make a food stockpile hub. It reduces the workforce requirement by 10% for the neighboring district, and also increases the stockpile limit capacity by 15,000. And I need 40,000, and I have 10 right now. So this will make it 25, and if I do another one, it'll make it 40. I have to frost break to do that though. Yeah, let's we'll wait to frost break. Oh no, we could do one right there. Perfect. Okay, that should do it. We need more materials. Food stockpile hubs. I'm working on it. I'm definitely working on it. He says, Our stores are almost full of food, but we still need more for the whiteout. We need secure hubs that can house our rations during the months of the whiteout. Working on it. They're almost done. We're going to zoom in and see in the second one it's done. Look, there's a food hub. That's where we store our algae cakes. Okay, so you hover over here and it shows the surplus every day is 127. Our stockpile is 8,500 out of 40,000. It'll be filled in 35 weeks and it needs to be filled in 47. So we're in very good shape. Of course, this is the prologue, which is the tutorial, so it's not going to be that hard, but could have gone off the rails. So what do we want to do next? We want to maybe just make sure we're extracting everything. So let's extract. We're going to leave the seals alone. We already talked about that. Maybe we'll extract these prefabs from this construction wagon and the materials from up here. Oh, well, we really can't because we need more workforce. So actually, where we're at now, we're losing materials. Let's pause because we're very stable. There's no squalor. There's no cold. It says cold is absent and stable. There's no disease. And there's no hunger. So everything's perfect. However, we are running low on materials. So we'll run out of those if we don't do something there. Let's do an emergency shift on these materials. And I don't know, what is it going to do? Production efficiencies increase. So right now the output is 150. What happens if I do this? 187. Okay, so that was 37. Okay. Okay, that gives me a surplus of materials, so that's good. So I guess I have to remember that emergency shifts. All right, so it goes from 150 to 187, which is a 37.5 modifier, which is what, 25% of 150? Yeah, okay. So I guess emergency shifts is an increase of 25%, but it also makes people upset. But listen, guys, you're not cold at all. There's no disease, there's no squalor. You can work a little longer shift. This icon right here is saying the resource deposit is nearly depleted. So in 4 weeks, we're going to run out of prefab. So then we'll be able to go ahead and finish this one that's over here. Why is that flashing red? The whiteout draws near, a sacrifice. People in the camp are getting tense. They worry we won't gather enough food in time. Our hunters blame us for ignoring the seal colony and claim they would have been able to provide enough food for everyone. It's too late for that now. Many elders have volunteered to walk into the Frostland rather than be a burden on our resources. Their sacrifice would significantly reduce the rations we need for the whiteout. What should we do? So slaughter the seals, we can't really do that. And we're not going to do that. Let our elders go. Nope. We're not going to do that either. The food required would decrease greatly, but we're going to try to save everybody throughout this series, even though we likely will not. And then really just don't resort to extremes. We will gather enough food in time. Basically, don't worry about it. Okay, so once it's depleted, it turns red, and your workforce will go back into your pool. So you're not wasting anything, but you're also not gaining the stuff back that if you demolish it, you'd get back. So if I demolish this, I'll get 38 scraps and 53 prefabs, which I need. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Now I can't frost break because I need 300 workforce. I wanted to frost break to get to this prefab area over here, but honestly, I'm not building anything else, so I'm just gonna leave it be. Because we're just gonna stockpile and get through this with no problem. We are at 33,000 out of 40,000. Colder season, heat demand is increased. Okay, so wait, I don't have enough oil. Let's tell them they need to do an extended shift. I'm good on oil now. This food is almost depleted. It'll be depleted in 17 weeks. This one in 18 weeks. So we're going to be fine because our stockpiles are going to be filled up in 6. We're currently at 35,000 out of 40. 36. 37. 38. 39. All right, our stockpile is good. It says we did it. We secured enough food to survive the incoming whiteout. Our workers will make some last-minute preparations before the storm arrives. We should try and keep our people warm for this time. We will survive. Now we wait. So on this timeline up here, it shows you how many weeks when certain weather events are going to happen. And we're in week 78 right now, which you see on the top left. In another few weeks, week 90, it looks like we get a colder season, and then the whiteout comes right after that. And then we'll be fine after that. Alright, I'm just going to fast forward because there's really nothing else to do right now. In fact, the objective changed to wait until the whiteout hits. It's in 5 weeks from now. Here we go. Against all odds, the Wanderers' survival. When the whiteout hit the camp, the Wanderers were ready. Everyone was thankful we acted fast and gathered enough food in time. The miracle of the seal colony strengthened our hope that our journey will lead to a promised land. Our elders have added this story to our great tales, alongside warnings about a sinful city that still pumps smoke into the sky. We survived. Alright, well, we're done with the prologue. Next up will be chapter 1. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.